Alright, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Me, your boy, BlindOG, and finally got my hands on a copy of Gears
Main
Tactics
menu.
for review.
Settings. Item 4 of
Alright,
6. Change the
so
settings.
I have
Button quit to
had
desktop.
a little bit of
Button
a
select.
time trying to
View
get
button.
this
Settings.
thing to actually speak. So finally got it to start talking. As far as the menu narration goes. And in order to do that, what you have to do is you have to go into accessibility and turn on the option for let game speak, and then it'll be able to talk to you. Now there are like tons of other accessibility options.
Benchmark. Item 5 of settings. Item 4 of 6 settings.
And
General. Item 1 of 13.
As you can tell, the menu narration is really low,
button reset defaults,
and
Y,
there's no volume control for it. So what I had to do was turn down the music in order to be able to really hear the menu narration. Hopefully that can be addressed as far as having an option to turn it up or turn it down, since the menu narration is actually in the game and it's not one of the screen readers. It's not narrator and it's not JAWS. So being able to turn that up and adjust that volume and even adjust the speed would be really, really nice. Alright, so let's go through some of the options. So we're in the options menu.
Interface. General. Item 1 of 13.
So you have the
button back. Menu
general
button save.
options.
X, button reset. Gore. On. Item 1 of 8. Toggle blood and gore effects in combat.
And it also has
button back. Menu
tells you what
content.
each
Item 2 of 8.
feature
Toggle
is.
mature spoken language. B. Button back. Menu button save. X. Button reset defaults. Y. Button help. BlindOG83.
Alright, so another thing that would be really cool is if it didn't repeat a lot of the the same things. Like, okay, if you're up at the top of the menu when you click on something, then yeah, it can tell you what buttons are where and what buttons need to be pressed to do what. But then maybe just have that for the top option and not for every option, because after a while, you hear the same thing over and over and over. So
camera rotation speed 1.0. Item 4 of 8. Change how sensitive the camera is to rotation input. B. Button back. Menu button set. Camera shake intensity 1.
Alright.
Dynamic camera moments. Character occlusion always. Item 7 of 8. Language English. Item 8 of 8. Change the language.
Alright.
Requires general.
So
Item
those
1 of 13.
are in general.
Interface. General. Item interface.
Now I
Item 2
haven't
of
been
13.
into the
Convoy
interface.
tutorial tips on. Item 1 of 6. Show line. Convoy tutorial tips on. Item 1. Show line of sight on. Item 2 of 6.
Now with line of sight,
indicate enemies that can be targeted.
it would be nice if line of sight
reset defaults. Y,
was also accessible with the narration, so that if a blind person is playing this game, they know which enemies are inside of their line of sight. That would be, helpful, just as that line is helpful for sighted players. Having extra information for a blind person would be great, so that they know what enemies are in range and things like that. So that's one thing that I hope can be done for this game, to make it accessible for people who are visually impaired and completely blind.
HUD edge scrolling on. Item 3 of 6 toggles cursor scrolling of the in-game map. B. Button back.
Cursor
Menu
scrolling.
button save.
So
X.
cursor scrolling is like
the
is what I think it is like when you have the mouse and you have the little scroll button on the mouse where you can just flip it with your finger to go, up and down on the map and stuff like that.
Combat log display, always, item 4 of 6, when to display in-game event messages. B.
Now that's
Button
a
back,
good thing.
menu
So a
button save,
combat log.
X,
So
button reset defaults, Y,
hopefully the
button help,
menu narration
BlindOG83.
not just reads menus but in-game narrations too. Because if you're gonna put menu narration in a game, then you know that there are people who are trying to play this game who are totally blind, right? So um so having in-game narration is something that will help a lot of people who are blind and visually impaired as well. Because I mean, it makes sense. Like if we can't read the menus, then we probably won't be able to read all the other stuff that goes on, inside a game, you know. So so having a combat log is really cool because when it pops up in game, it would be nice to have narration be able to read all the in-game pop-ups as well, because a lot of that stuff is really useful, like it's information that is needed um to help a person or a player make good decisions in order to win the game. So that's something else that would be nice if it were accessible.
Combat log duration, 1 minute, item 5 of 6.
And
Change
this is
how long
really
in-game
good
events
for
remain
for the
displayed in the
combat
combat
log. Being
log.
able to choose how
B.
long it
Button
pops up
back,
or stays up
menu
on
button
screen
save,
is
X,
really good.
button reset, HUD safe zone, item 6 of 6. Calibrate your HUD safe zones. B. Button back,
All
menu
right.
interface, accessibility, item 3
So
of
here we
13.
go.
B.
Accessibility, right?
Button back,
And we all
menu
know
button save,
as
X,
blind gamers,
button
like,
reset
yes,
defaults,
accessibility
Y,
has
button
has
help,
taken leaps and strides
BlindOG83.
into mainstream gaming, but also accessibility has a wide definition, right? What is accessible for some still might not be accessible for others. Although, like it doesn't matter to me. I appreciate all the accessibility because what it makes me think is that studios are paying attention to all of the gamers, not just the sighted ones, right? So and as a person who buys mainstream games, like I'd like to be taken seriously, just like all the rest of the gamers, no matter if they're disabled or not. All right, so
General, item 4 of accessibility,
let's
item
get
3
into
color blind mode,
accessibility.
none, item 1 of color blind mode, none, item 1
So
of 7,
colorblind
set
mode,
the
that's
color blind
awesome.
mode. Captioning, full closed captioning,
Of
item 2
course,
of 7,
captioning,
change the amount of captioning.
that's always good for
B.
people who are deaf.
Captioning size, motion blur, off, item 4 of 7,
Is for
blur
people
the
who
scene on
can't
quick
really
camera
handle
movements.
seeing,
B.
certain
Button back,
scenes because they
menu
shake
button
too
save,
much and stuff like
X,
that,
button
which is
reset
also really good.
defaults, lens flare intensity, off, item 5 of 7, simulate the visual effect produced by bright light sources viewed through a lens.
All right,
Controller vibration, on, item 6 of 7,
controller
toggle the
vibration
controller
on, and I'm
vibration feature.
playing with an
B.
Xbox controller,
Button back, menu
so
button save,
that's really
X,
cool that they
button
have
reset
a
defaults,
vibration.
Y,
But
button
this
help,
could also be useful
BlindOG83.
for tons of different accessibility options, like people um, who need, like for example, someone who is playing this who is blind, like having a certain um, controller vibration for different notifications. Like, okay, if you get hit or you take damage, then the controller will vibrate. Or if during your turn, if you shoot at an enemy and you hit, then you get some controller vibrations. And then also it can be kind of juggled with the length of the vibration and give you different information as well. So, like, if you get hit and you take a lot of damage, then it'll be a longer vibration. If you are grazed by a bullet or barely hit, then it'll be shorter, like shorter bursts of vibration. And that is something that is really, really cool. Be really cool. All right. So,
Let the game read to me, on, item
so we
7
have
of
that
7,
on already.
turn
We
the
don't want to
screen
change
narrator
that.
on or off. Controller vibration,
All right.
on. Accessibility, General, Item 4 of 13. Performance presets, recommended, Item 1 of 11.
So
Choose
you have
default quality settings.
performance
The recommended
presets.
display mode, full screen, item, resolution scale, 1000, vertical sync, on, minimum frame rate, 30,
So
item
all this
5 of
stuff
11,
is pretty much the
dynamically manage
specs
the 3D scene
um,
resolution when the frame rate
for
drops below
people
the
who
target.
are sighted, so
The
they
scene is
can have the
upsampled to the
game
window
run
resolution before final
as best
post-processing is applied.
as in the best
B.
way that they can
Button
for their
back.
computer,
Maximum
which
frame
is really
rate.
cool because I'm
Unlimited.
pretty sure this game
Cinematic
looks
frame rate.
awesome.
30. Item
Um,
7 of cinematic scaling mode. Fill. Item 8 of 11. Show stats. None. Item 9 of 11. Cinematic scaling mode. Show brightness. Item 10 of 11.
so
Adjust your
brightness, that's
brightness.
good. That helps for people
B.
who
Button
are
back.
visually
Menu
impaired.
button save.
Maybe they need to adjust
X.
the brightness
Button
or dim
reset
it.
default. Launch benchmark. Item 11 of 11. General.
All right.
Item textures. Item 5 of 13.
Textures is
B.
more
Button
of
back.
a sighted
Menu
thing.
button save. X.
Helps
Button reset
with being
defaults.
able to
Y.
see the
Button
resolution
help.
even better, like
BlindOG83.
details and stuff like that. It's another option that makes the game look a whole lot, a whole lot better.
Environment. Item 6 of 13.
Let's see what environment
Volumetric
is.
fog. Off. Item 1 of 10. Toggle physically based fog, which affects
So,
how light is scattered in the world. B.
so
Button back.
I think this
Menu
is sort of
button
like the
save.
fog of
X.
war
Button
type of
reset
thing.
defaults. Y. Button
In a
help.
lot of strategy games, the
BlindOG83.
fog of war covers areas that you haven't explored yet, which is something that's really, really cool.
Planar reflections, off. Item 2, glossy reflections, off. Item, screen space reflections, off. World detail, low. Item 5 of 10, adjust the complex, contact shadows, off. Item 6 of 10, generate detailed screen space shadows between objects and lights in the world. Shadow resolution, 512x5, dynamic shadows, off. Particle spawn rate, 0.7. Dynamic object lifetime, 0.7. Item 10 of 10, adjust how
So,
long objects, such as bodies, stay on screen. B.
so that's also
Button back,
really cool.
menu
So you
button
can
save,
adjust that,
X,
and that actually
button reset
helps.
defaults,
I think
Y,
that helps
button
with
help,
how your computer runs
BlindOG83.
the game, because if it has to render those bodies for a long time, if they're not doing nothing, might as well just take them off if they die. So,
Environment, post-process, item 7 of 13. B.
host
Button back.
process. I'm not really
Menu
sure what
button
that
save.
is.
Advanced. Item 8 of 30.
See
GPU.
what's in.
Auto. Item 1 of 6. Select which GPU you would like to use. Mesh complexity. Variable rate shading. Off. Item 3 of 6. Improve. Tiled resources. Variable rate shading. Off. Item 3 of 6. Improve performance by shading select groups of pixels together as a single coarse pixel while maintaining edge tiled resources. On. Item 4 of 6. Improve texture streaming efficiency by optimizing texture loads into VRAM. The async compute. On. Item 5 of 6. Diagnostic mode. Off. Item 6 of 6.
All right.
Update
So another
advanced.
thing I think
Item
is
8 of
really cool
13.
is that
B.
although
Button back.
this
Menu
game
button save. X.
is
Button reset
really
defaults. Y.
doing something
Button help.
different than most strategy
BlindOG83.
games have before, like for example, Final Fantasy Tactics, um, Halo Wars, and stuff like that. Is a grid-based sort of field. So on one hand, Gears is trying to get away from that and put the tactics genre into a new, kind of a new spin with this game. Um, but I think it would be good to have an option to actually bring that grid back for accessibility reasons, so that players can know, who are blind or visually impaired, or who like the sort of like the old school feel of strategy games, and seeing what are in the different squares and all that kind of stuff, can know what is in a square, what enemies are in a square, and it also helps with coordinate based navigation, so that a person can remember, like if an enemy is here, like in one square, right, and they are diagonally 2 squares away, that helps them know how far they can shoot as far as range goes, and it also helps to give a coordinate view of what is on the map, not just enemies, but environmental things that affect how the player plays. So, like for example, in this game, like taking cover. Like if you know that there's like for a sighted person, you can see where you can take cover. For a person who is blind or visually impaired, um, having a coordinate based or tile based navigation system will help them be able to know what is in each tile and where they can take cover, and also how far away an enemy is. It kind of plays into that line of sight thing as well. So hopefully that's something that can be added, um, if not into the PC version, into the Xbox version as far as accessibility. Because what I'd like to see is for this game to be fully accessible, um, so that, like a person who is totally blind and play it without any help at all. So that means being able to do the tutorials, just like sighted people like to learn how to play a game before they actually get into the campaign. People who are blind or visually impaired like that same option, and being able to see and work through the whole tutorial stage is very important when you're trying to get into a game and be able to gain all the knowledge that you can to beat a game. So,
Post Pros Advanced, Item 8
all
of
right.
General, Item 9 of 13.
So there's
B.
another
Button
general.
back, menu button save, master volume, 10,
Oh,
item 1
this
of
is
5,
more
adjust the
like
master volume.
sounds.
B. Button
So
back,
I would
menu
hope that
button
this is
save,
where
X,
they would put
button reset
the
defaults,
narration
Y,
sound
button
in
help,
here, like so that you
BlindOG83.
can adjust narration sounds and stuff like that.
Music volume, 3, item 2 of 5,
So yeah, so
adjust
I have
master
it.
volume, 10, item, music volume,
I have
3,
everything
item 2
up
of 5,
except for
adjust the volume
the
of
uh
background
the
music,
music.
effects volume, 10, dialogue volume, 10, captioning, full closed captioning, dialogue, captioning, full closed captioning,
And I think it's
item
really
5 of
cool that
5,
they have
change the
the
amount
the
of
menu
captioning.
uh
B.
the
Button
menu
back.
click. So
Menu
when I
button save.
when I go
X.
from one
Button reset
option
defaults.
to
Y.
another, that
Button help.
click
Dialogue volume.
is something
10.
that's very
Item 4
important
of 5.
too,
Adjust
for
the
blind and
volume of
visually
spoken
impaired
dialogue
players, so
during
we can
gameplay.
know that we have
B.
switched to
Button
another
back.
option or a
Menu button
different
save.
feature or something
X.
like that.
Button
And
reset
also
defaults.
it will be
Y.
useful in
Button
game,
help.
in the in
BlindOG83.
game menus, like if you're picking one of the options to shoot or to reload or to move or to duck behind cover, like those types of options, it'd be nice to be able to have a click so that you can know which one is which and where and all that kind of stuff. Right, so that's something that it would be nice, but it's not necessarily like really 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 useful. I mean, well, it's useful, but it's not really, really, really needed. I'd rather, the coalition take a look at things like grid-based combat, um, and grid-based options, first, and making sure that all all text in the game, anything that is a text, is able to be read um, through narration. So that's all the menu stuff, which right now it seems like all the menu stuff is pretty good. Like the narration for the menu is good. So more like in-game stuff. And things like when you start a campaign, if it says chapter one, like chapter one and then the name of the chapter, like that is something that would be nice if there was narration for that too, so that we can enjoy the full game. Like we're buying, the game, then that those types of things would be good to be able to have, so that we can enjoy the full game. All right,
General.
so backing
Item
out of
9 of 30.
there,
Keyboard bindings. Item 10 of
keyboard
13.
bindings. Not gonna
B.
really mess
Button
around with
back.
that.
Menu button save. X.
That's
Button.
like
Gamepad bindings. item 11 of 13.
pretty much switching out
B.
buttons so that,
Button back,
you can
menu
have them do
button
whatever
save,
you want.
controller, item 12 of 30, general, item controller, item, controller vibration, on, item 1 of
Alright,
7,
so
toggle the
controller
controller
vibration is in here
vibration
again.
feature, invert left stick x-axis, invert left stick, invert right stick, invert right, left stick sensitivity, 1 point, right stick sensitivity,
Okay, so
1.0, controller,
those are
item
the
12 of
normal,
13.
pretty much the normal options
B.
for
Button back,
any
menu
shooter
button save,
that you have.
X, button reset default, general, item 13 of
Alright, so
13.
we got another general.
Redeem code, item 1 of 1,
Okay.
open a web browser to redeem a code.
Alright, so
B.
that's
General,
redeeming a
item
code.
13 of 13.
Alright, so that's pretty much the end of the
Accessibility,
options.
item,
Alright,
interface, general, item 1 of
so
13.
now we're gonna move
B. Button
from
back, menu
the
button save,
accessibility and
X,
options, we're gonna
but
move
main menu,
to
settings,
starting up
benchmark, item,
a
look, continue,
a
item,
new
new
game.
game, item 2
Alright,
of 6, start a new campaign. B. New game. Empty, slot 1. B. Button back, A. Buttons, new game. Beginner, for players who are new to turn-based
alright, now
tactics
I
or are
like
mostly
that
interested
this
in the
is
story. B.
narrated. That's
Button
really
back,
good
A.
because this is an
Button
important
select,
thing, to be able
BlindOG83, view
to
button,
know
settings.
what I'm choosing when I start a game, like what difficulty, because I don't want to start on a difficulty that's super hard.
Intermediate, experienced, insane, for Ironman, off. Ironman mode will not allow you to restart missions or back up if you make mistakes. B.
Now,
Button back,
once
A.
this game
Button
is fully
select,
accessible, I can't
BlindOG83,
wait to play
view
this on
button,
Ironman
settings.
mode, because what Ironman mode does, and this doesn't really have anything to do with accessibility, but I'm gonna give you this little tidbit. This is on many of the Gears of War games. So what it does is you start a game, and that's it. You can't back out. Like if you die, you die, and you have to restart no matter where you're at. If you die, you die. But if you complete the whole game with, or yeah, if you complete the whole game in Ironman mode, then you usually get really good achievements. So,
Insane, intermediate, beginner, for players who are new to turn-based tactics or are
all
mostly
right,
interested in the story.
so
B.
so
Button
we're
back,
gonna put it
A.
on
Button
easy
select, BlindOG83,
for right
view
now.
button, settings. Enter, start mission.
All right, that's cool. That it actually tells you when to start mission. That's awesome, because there's sometimes that games will just make a noise, and it'll have something, that sighted people will be able to see, but for visually impaired and blind people you can't really see it. So I'm glad that right there it says, A to start mission. Now there's no confirmation noise for that, but that's okay. But that would be good to have. Just like everything else that you interact with usually has like a noise, some sort of click or something. Because like right now, um, there's no there's no music, there's no noise, and so I'm wondering if I hit if I hit the button or whatever. But there's nothing else on here that's reading, um, so I'm guessing it's loading. Hopefully it's loading. But yeah, like I'm hoping that, like I said earlier, narration is put in the game like throughout the entire game. So like when you have loading screens, and usually it'll say loading, and it'll have like the ellipses that's, like moving from left to right, like that kind of thing would be nice to know, where it says loading, just every once in a while, so you know that the game is, still loading up. As of right now, it's really not saying anything, so I'm not really sure if it is loading or what.
After
All right.
years of endless war, humanity had finally found peace. Until Emergence Day, when a monstrous new enemy, black-hearted and savage, emerged from below and laid siege to our world. Our losses have been great. Our resolve is far greater. My fellow tyrants, today, the coalition of ordered governments strikes back. These unclean beasts, these locusts, will advance no further. I, Chairman Prescott, have authorized a full planetary strike from our Hammer of Dawn weapons arsenal. On my order, the COG has placed infantry detachments in key cities to mop up any surviving locust. For those citizens unable to evacuate to safety in time, the Coalition appreciates your sacrifice. Forgive us. This is the only way.
Chin up, Private. If you can survive Prescott's bullshit, you can survive anything.
He's torching the whole world to kill the grubs, Sarge. Am I ever gonna see him again?
I don't know. Looking for shelter? Come on, join the party.
You're gonna want to get that.
Diaz.
Special order, Sergeant. Proceed immediately to General Beckett's office at CIC to retrieve a classified document. Acknowledge.
No, you've got the wrong gear. I just run the motor pool.
You have your orders. Control out.
And let me guess, you're coming too.
Well, if you insist.
Looks like we're on foot from here. CIC's up ahead.
Check. Locust troops inbound.
Drones, I see them.
Alright,
List.
so the game has started because I just felt the controller shake and getting shot or something.
Camera.
So I
Control
guess
the
they
camera with
actually,
W, S, D, or by moving the cursor to the screen edge. Rotate the camera with Q, E, dot. Confirm, item 1 of 1. Escape, close. Action points, X3, health,
Get into cover,
500.
Diaz. You forget how to fight in the motor pool?
Something like that.
Alright, so I was hearing the narration. I don't hear it anymore though. I know it said I had action points, 3 of them.
Action points, X3, health,
You trying to get
500.
shot? Move your ass into cover.
Action points, X3, health, 500.
So yeah, I wish that there was a way to turn up the narration, because when you hear a lot of the background stuff, like it's overdoing the narration. But I could always go back to the options menu and turn down the effects volumes and stuff, and that's what I might do.
You trying to get shot? Move your ass into cover.
So
Action points, X3, health, 500.
now, when I click on something, I hear that a menu just opened. And I hear that I can, I'm moving around, but it doesn't speak. So this is the part where narration would work really well.
You trying to get shot? Move your ass
being
into
able
cover.
to hear what is in these menus, because this is how you play the game. Alright,
Action points, X3,
so
health,
that's
500.
really cool. When you hit the right bumper and left bumper, you switch.
Action points, X3, health, 500.
It would also be nice to be able to know who you're switching to, like as far as your character goes, because being able to know whose turn it is and which characters
You trying to
still
get
have
shot?
action
Move
points.
your ass into cover.
So we're gonna open up this person's menu, whoever this is, and we're gonna see what happens. Okay, so that doesn't work either, because there's probably a whole bunch of stuff in here. So
health, 560.
You trying to get shot? Move your ass into
I'm
cover.
moving around the left thumbstick, and there is some noise that's going on, or it was talking, but it didn't really give me any other information than what it already told me about the health and the action points.
Action points, X3, health, 500. Action points, X3, health, 500.
So
You trying to get shot? Move your ass into cover.
alright, so there's not much to be done about that.
Lancer. 4/4. Assault
So
rifle with an attached chainsaw for close quarters combat.
So hitting the X button brought up that menu, or the narration for that.
Snub. Lancer. 4/4. Assault rifle with an attached chainsaw for close quarters combat.
Alright, so I'm gonna click on
You
this
trying to
Lancer,
get shot? Move your ass into cover.
but my question is, I wonder how I would figure out how to aim and which enemy to aim at, and how to take cover. That's another thing. The Y button doesn't really do anything. B button backs out of menus.
Game paused. Escape,
Okay.
resume, enter, select. BlindOG83.
Okay, so it's
settings.
cool that the pause menu is narrated too, because there's some games that don't even have that. So that's cool.
Settings. Open the settings menu. Resume, setting, reload current checkpoint, restart mission, abort mission, quit the
So
mission
that's
and
good that
resume
all
the
that
game in the
is
state
accessible.
before. Exit to main menu.
That's
Return
awesome.
to the main menu without
Alright, we're not
saving.
gonna exit
Menu
just yet.
button resume. A. Button select. BlindOG83. View button. Settings.
Alright.
You trying to
So,
get shot? Move your ass into
button.
cover.
Select button doesn't do anything either. So
Health. 560. Health. 560.
So I'm not really sure how to move into cover. The right trigger button does something, but I'm not really sure what that does. Whatever it doesn't talk.
You trying to get shot? Move your ass into cover.
Lancer. Snub. 4/4. Standard issue semi-automatic pistol, accurate at long range.
So it says 4/4. I don't know what that means.
Stim, Lance, Snub. Stim grenade. Unlimited.
Yeah, cool.
Lancer. 4/4. Snub, Lancer.
You trying to get shot? Move your ass into cover.
So another thing that would be nice is when you have the cursor on top of an enemy, having it make a noise compared to when it's over one of your own players. That'd be good.
You trying to get shot? Move your ass into cover.
And of course he keeps repeating the same thing because I'm not moving. Alright.
Action points, X3, health, 500.
So yeah, being able to move and stuff like that, that would be nice to know how to do that. And, because as of right now, it's pretty much,
You trying to get shot? Move your ass into cover.
pretty much inaccessible. So I'm gonna keep messing around with it, to see if I can figure out some stuff on it. But yeah. So there are some menus that are accessible. And I'm hoping, I haven't got to this part yet, but I'm hoping
You trying to
that
get shot? Move your ass into cover.
Game paused.
the guns,
Escape, resume,
and
enter,
stuff like
select,
that,
BlindOG83,
like
P,
choosing
settings.
different modifications for your guns is accessible, because that would be nice. And the modifications for the characters, like I'm hoping that's accessible, even though I don't really know how to get to that. I'm sure that's probably like after the tutorial or something like that, I guess. So, like everyone knows that follows me and is in a lot of the gamer groups that I'm in, that I was really, really excited about this game coming out. It, it's kind of like a letdown that it's not fully accessible. But in order for that to happen, studios have to be okay with just asking questions. Like if you are making a game, and you want your game to be accessible as, per Microsoft, where they're talking about everyone plays, and even the coalition is talking about accessibility is king, then you need to ask people who use the accessibility features what they need in order to play, to play a game. Like it's hard to make a game accessible if if you if you're not sort of getting the information from the people who need um the accessibility features to play your games. But other than that, like other than the in game not really being accessible, everything else is good. Like the pause menu narration, that's awesome. The main menu narration and being able to change up all of the different settings, like that's awesome. You know, so um, so I'm really hoping that that maybe someone will be able to change up some of this stuff, and even other blind players will you know reach out to the coalition if they're interested in playing this game, so that they know that there are tons of different people who have disabilities who love to play their games. They just need a little bit more help in being able to actually play the games 100%. So so uh so pretty much the main points of this is just having the in-game narration as good as the menu narration. Having things read out, like so a player can know what player they're on. Maybe being able to, I know that it seemed like I could switch between players using the right bumpers, and that would be something that'd be really good as far as like when it's the player's turn and stuff like that. Also having something so that what what people you have on your team and how many people. Like that wasn't, I didn't see anything about it telling who's in the squad, what types of guns they have. I did get into that menu where it had the Lancer and the snub and the stem grenade. But I don't know what character that belongs to. Like I don't know whose inventory that is, right? And then if like you're supposed to be able to close emergence holes with grenades. Well, that's gonna have to be something, done so that, people who are blind or visually impaired and know where the hole is and know, how many enemies are on the field at once, because I've heard that this game has tons of enemies on the field, which is really, really cool. But in order to actually beat the level, you have to close all the holes. So knowing how to throw a grenade as far as, like where to throw it, or if you're close enough to an emergence hole to to uh to throw it, like that kind of stuff is super, super important. Um, it's just, the things that sighted people or sighted players take for granted is stuff that people who are blind or visually impaired, we still need that information. So um so I think a little bit more narration or information in game would be really good. And like I said, being able to know what character you're on, whether that character is an enemy or whether that character is a friendly. That's something that is important. And also when I said about the navigation, the grid navigation, I think being able to choose from the accessibility option to put in a grid sort of layout for the maps would actually help tons, because first it would help with navigation, so that a player could know, okay, um if an enemy is three three three, I don't know, grid squares north and two west, um and being able to know the like how long their guns um can reach would be really, really super, super important. And using grid based is something that would make navigation much easier, because a person would know, okay, so it's three up, two west. I can flank him by going, like one east and maybe three up, so that you're right there, but you're flanking him, and in order to get around, the enemy and stuff like that. Because using strategy and stuff like that is super important. And one of the most biggest things when you're doing like a battle game like this, a battle strategy game, is being able to navigate and being able to take advantage of the environment. So all of the information, as far as environments goes, should be able to be accessed by, people who are blind or visually impaired as well. Like I don't think this game really takes advantage of stuff like that. But if you're on a tile, because if they use the grid base, if you're on a tile that's a mountain or a higher rise, then that would probably mean that the percentage of you hitting an enemy might go up, because you can see them better, right? Like stuff like that. Like that kind of information would be awesome to have, for a person who is blind or visually impaired. So, um, so hopefully, we can we can get some of this stuff um, implemented, and yeah, other than that, like this game would be is really cool. Like I like the sounds, I like the music. Even though this is not a third person shooter as all of the other Gears titles are, like it still makes me feel, like playing, like I'm playing just a normal Gears game, like I'm playing Gears 5, like like the songs and the sounds and everything like that. So I'm really, really hoping that this can be, made accessible. And if this does happen to get to someone at the this video happens to get to someone at the coalition, and they want to contact me, um, I can be contacted in a couple different ways. At Twitter, BFGC underscore BlindOG83. Um, Also, I can be contacted through my YouTube channel, which is BlindOG83, um, which is where I'll post this, and I'm gonna also put the link. I'm gonna go onto Twitter and put it uh, into one of the coalition feeds so that they can maybe check out this video and see, what types of accessibility features are possible, and what one are needed for people who are blind and visually impaired as they go forward with different upgrades and patches, because this game just came out today. So I know that there's tons of stuff, they're getting probably tons of feedback from players of things that they need to do. And I just hope that, accessibility is something that continues to stay important in the games that they make. And I'm really actually happy that this game is made. When some of the other strategy games came out, I used to play them. A lot of stuff like Age of Empires and Halo Wars and stuff like that. I wasn't blind, so I didn't really think much about accessibility. Um, but for this game, I'm really hoping that accessibility stays important for the coalition. So thanks for checking out the video. Um, and Hopefully, like I said, we'll get some of these things fixed, because I know there's a whole bunch of some of my blind gamer friends who really, really wanted to play it and check it out. So thanks for checking out the video, and I'll catch y'all a little bit later.